Hello there, Survivor. If you are new to the Long Dark and you're having some trouble learning the game, then this video is for you. I'm going to go through it as if it was a new game, and I'll explain all the basic mechanics of how this works. The Long Dark is a very difficult game to learn because it doesn't have any tips or tutorials, meaning you have to actually learn everything by yourself or looking up a video like this one. Alright, survivors, let's learn how to play the Long Dark. So there isn't really any kind of tutorial for you to practice these things in the game itself. The closest would be the Wintermute episodic story, which does teach you the odd thing or two, but mostly you have to figure it out by yourself. And there's a lot of little details and ins and outs of this game to master, and we're not going to go through all of them today because there's too many to actually cover. But if you are new to the game and would especially like to do survival mode, I'm going to go through the basics today so that you understand what's going on. So, first of all, when you play survival, you have permadeath, which means that when you're dead, and that's it. And don't be afraid to die because you will die a lot in this game. And that's actually how you learn the game. You learn through your mistakes. That's pretty much the only way to do it. The developers of this game posted some data a few months back. Well, I think it was a couple of years back, and they show that there's actually not a single player that owns this game that has never died. So don't be afraid of dying. Now, first things first, if you're playing survival, the first thing you need to know is the difficulty. So there are 4 categories, but really there's 3 different ones. So Pilgrim is the easiest. If you go here, everything is very mild. It's tuned down. It's very forgiving. There's lots and lots of loot. And most importantly, what differentiates Pilgrim and Voyager is that on Pilgrim, the animals won't attack you unless you attack first. So if you are really struggling, then you should play Pilgrim first. So if you're new to survival games, play Pilgrim first. If you have played survival games before, but are new to Long Dark, then maybe you should start on Voyager instead. Although I will point out that there's nothing wrong with playing on any difficulty at all. There are several players in this community who have been playing this game for years and they only play Pilgrim because they find it more relaxing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Voyager and Stalker are roughly 2 sides of the same coin. Stalker is just a harder version of Voyager. Think of it as easy, normal, hard, and nightmare. And then custom is wherever you want. So if you're new to the game, you should never start on Interloper. That's the hardest. You should start on Pilgrim if you're new to survival games and you're completely in the dark and don't know what you're doing, or if you want a relaxing exploration experience. If not, you should start on Voyager or maybe Stalker. The difference between these two is pretty much just that on Stalker, there's a little bit less loot, a little bit tougher environment, and there's more enemies, more wolves. But ultimately, these two are the most common difficulties. Interloper is the hardest difficulty in the game outside of some special custom ones, so you don't want to try this out until you have mastered the previous difficulties, because the Interloper is much more brutal. There's a lot of loot you can't find there, so don't do that. If you want to learn how to play Interloper, you can check out one of my other videos on that. What we're going to do is we're going to do a new Voyager run, and I'll explain all the basics right away. So we're going to do Voyager, which means that animals can attack you, but there's plenty of loot and it's not much to worry about. Okay, so first thing here is the regions. This is the world map. Now the thing is that it's going to take you a long time to learn all these maps. Each of these is a region, and several of these regions have a smaller region connecting them, like there's a connection between Coastal Highway and Mystery Lake, for example. So this is actually much bigger than Skyrim, so it's going to take you a while to learn all of them. So what I would do is, you could of course do a random map, but if you're a new player or new to the Long Dark, I wouldn't do that. I would choose something easy. And if that's the case, I would recommend that you start in either Mystery Lake or Coastal Highway. Those are probably the two easiest regions and also the regions that people enjoy the most. Mystery Lake is probably the easiest in terms of loot, but Coastal Highway is also easy because it's very open and very easy to see what's happening. And I think I will actually go to Mystery Lake. And the reason we're going to Mystery Lake is because this is one of the areas that's also in story mode. If you play story mode, Episode 1 is here in Mountain Town, and Episode 2 is in Mystery Lake, full of Muskeg and Broken Railroad. Episode 3 is in Pleasant Valley, and Episode 4 is probably up here, and an episode not released as of this video. So we're going to choose this one because it's something you might be very familiar with. The two easiest is probably Mystery Lake, Coastal Highway, and also Mountain Town. Okay, so we're going to choose one and confirm that. And then whether you choose male or female has no practical implications whatsoever. People generally prefer female just because of the noises and lines of dialogue that the character has, but it doesn't make a difference. And these are feats. Now, if you're a new player, you won't have any of these feats unlocked. They all come by playing the game. I will point out that you can only get these feats by playing regular survival and not custom. What they do is they unlock certain benefits. For example, this one allows you to sprint more. This one allows you to start with a higher fire skill. This one allows you to burn less calories and so on. So these are all little things that you'll unlock to improve your game as you play the game more. But you don't need them. They just give you an edge, that's all. So we're going to do one without any of these, because if you're new to the game, you probably don't have any of these, but you will get them in time. So for now, we're just going to leave the feats. And then the name, new plane. All right, so it will spawn you in a random location when you start survival, which can be both indoor or outdoor, although on Interlope it will always be outdoor. So first, let's see where we are. Sounds like it's bad weather. Okay, so we are outdoors, and first thing to do is to look around. Now, if you're new to the game, you won't know where you are, so you're in complete darkness, like where the heck am I, right? Now, first thing you'll notice is that if I now go on the map, it won't be any map. Oh, so where do you go? Well, if you don't know the region, you just have to explore. In this particular case, we're going to try and find some shelter. Of course, I'm an experienced player, so I know where I am right away. But at the moment, it's dark, it's windy, it's cold, we need to find shelter. So in the beginning, when you are in the middle of nowhere, I would actually just start running until you find something. Now, one important thing, if you are playing on Voyager or on Pilgrim, you will not have any predators the first 24 hours of the game. So you're completely safe from wolves. It's only when the game progresses that you actually get wolves appearing. So in the beginning when you spawn, don't worry, you're not under any danger. It's only the elements that's dangerous, because that's what this game really is. It's a fight against the elements. So you just got to walk around until you find a place to stay, and there should be a cabin over this hill, so we're just going to head there, and then I'll explain all the mechanics of the game. Now, the maps are very, very big, so it's going to take you a long time to learn all the ins and outs of the game, and don't expect to do that in one go. It's going to take you a long time. Most people take years to learn this game, but you can probably master the basic mechanics and the gist of it, in like a month or two, So here we are, here's a cabin. This is the famous Trapper's cabin. You are here in story mode. This is where the Trapper lives, and it's one of people's favorite bases. We're going to get inside, it'll be a bit quieter, and we're going to go through the basics of the game so you know what you're doing. So let's get inside, and we'll be nice and warm. You'll notice that our cold is dropping. There we are. Alright, so let's do one thing at a time. First things first, we are in Mystery Lake, and you already knew that because we selected. But as you'll notice, it's completely black, the map. We can't see anything. There's no map. Well, that's because there isn't one. I'll superimpose now what the complete map looks like in a charcoal. So this is what it would look like, and then on story mode you actually have an arrow that shows you where you are. But on survival you do not have any of that. You can't see where you are. So there's only one way to do it really, which is to learn the map, and that takes some time. So that's the only way for you to really know. Now that being said though, you can actually map the location with something called charcoal. Let me just show you what that is before I show anything else. So over here is a stove. So any kind of fire pit will have charcoal inside of it, especially after you just used it. So you can take that, and now I have a charcoal, and it's not actually light enough. I'm just going to skip this like so. Okay. Now if you go outside, I think it's actually light enough now. What I'll do is I'll click space, or whichever controller you're using, and you'll get this radial menu of different items. And what you want to do is click on navigation and the charcoal. And what that will do is, if I now activate it, I'll survey this area like this. And you'll see now I have discovered part of the map. It also shows me where I am at the moment, but that's not going to last. So now I have uncovered this part of the map, but that's it. Everything else is black. And the only way to uncover the rest of the map is to do exactly what I just did, again and again and again. And if you have a Polaroid, you can actually go around the world and find a few hidden Polaroids. And if you find those, you can uncover more of the map. But that's about it. Let's head back inside. So that's how you uncover the map, and that's how you eventually find out where you are. Now we're inside, so let's do the meters first. We're getting frostbite risk because we're not clothed, and I'll get to that. Let's start with the basic thing first. So this game is all about survival, and the only way to survive is to keep your meters non-empty. So you have 4 meters in the game, which you're going to look at here under status. So this one here is how cold you are. And this is the most important one, because once you get cold, you get hypothermia risk like this. And that drains your health very, very fast. And you will die within a few hours of gameplay. So being warm is the top priority. That's why you want that's why you want to find a hidden, not hidden, but it's like a building or something to go in. You can also start a fire to warm yourself up, which I'll also get to. And you want to keep this outside of the red. This rested is your stamina. That's how tired you are. In the beginning, this doesn't really affect much, but once this gets halfway, you'll start to slow down and things will become heavier. You can't carry as much stuff, and you'll become tired. So you want to not be completely drained, but this one's not that important. It mostly affects how much you can sprint and how much you can carry. And then you have first, which also you should keep hydrated, which isn't that hard. Just drink water or any kind of liquid. And then you have hunger. And hunger is also something that only barely affects your health, but if you manage to stay full for 3 days in a row, that is, it never goes to 0 here, you can get a bonus that makes you carry more stuff. So you want to have these as full as you can and never really get in the red, basically. Now this thing here, frostbite, is something dangerous. If you get too cold and you don't have certain parts of your body covered, you can get a frostbite risk because it's too cold. And if that happens, you'll get a permanent damage to your character. So here it says it's on the hands. And if you look on our clothing section, you'll see it's because we don't have gloves. So because of that, I do have a hat and I have shoes and so on, but I don't have gloves. So if I get too cold, I'm going to get frostbite on my hands, and then I will take 10% permanent damage, and you can't get that back. It will forever be on your character. So you don't want that. So that's basically what this game is about. You need to keep all of these 4 meters above being depleted at all times. That's what this is about. And how do you do that? Well, you need to be warm to keep this one up. You need to sleep to keep this one up. You need to have water to keep this one up, and you need food for this one, and that's about it. Let's move on to the tabs and explain everything. So this is our clothing. We had different slots. There are some niches to this, but for now, it's going to keep it simple. You can basically have 2 of pretty much every item. So headgear jackets, shirts, gloves. These are special items like backpacks and air wraps. Trousers, leggings or underwear, socks and shoes. You can also craft things, which we'll get to in several of these. Then you have your inventory, which I think I'll do last, and then here's crafting. So these are the things you can craft in the game, and there's several different ones of them. This is how you get tinder. You need that to start a fire, which you can get with a stick, a newspaper, a newsprint roll, or stack of papers. Or you can find them around. You can also use birch bark or cattail heads. And here's your medicine. Now you can craft bandages. You can craft these things. All of these things here, there are medicines for in the game, but you can craft them with nature's resources. So this one, the old man's beard, is a replacement for antiseptic. Birch bark is a natural healing remedy you can have. Reishi mushroom is a replacement for antibiotics. And rose hips is a replacement for painkillers. And then here's what you eventually go for later in the game, but I wouldn't worry about it at the moment. This is how you craft your animal gear. So a coat made of bearskin, for example, or deerskin boots or pants. And these will keep you very warm and very protected. I'm not going to go through that in too much detail now. But as you progress in the game and kill more animals, you can start crafting these. And then you have your weapons. You can craft arrowheads for the bow. You can craft bullets. You can craft fishing tackles and arrows and snares. Now notice that some of these require something. If you look at, for example, the fishing tackle, it requires a hook and a line. And then once you have that, you can just craft it. But if I look at, for example, the snare, it will say workbench as well, which means you have to find a work table to actually work it on. And that's this. This here is a workbench. So you need these to craft a lot of items. Okay, and then we have our journal. This is just your calendar, how long you survived. Here's your skills. These skills all improve aspects of the game, and they level by using. So if you played something like Skyrim, you know, where you level up as you do things, it's kind of the same. So this is carcass harvesting. So the more you harvest carcasses, the more that goes up, and you basically get better at it, do it faster, and you can do it as animals are colder. Cooking, this one's very important because the more you cook, the better you become at it, meaning you get more calories from things you cook, and eventually you become immune to things like food poisoning and stuff like that. Fire starting will affect how long fires burn, how good you are at starting fires, and eventually you'll start fires very good, and you don't even need tinders. This one's self-explanatory. It's just how good you are at fishing, which mostly means how many fish you get per hour or how likely it is the line breaks and stuff like that. Then you have the rifle, which is just how much damage the rifle does, how much swaying it does, and so on. Same with archery. The more you shoot with the bow, the more damage and critical hits you can get, so you become a better hunter. At level 5, you can crouch while hunting, which you can't until then. Mending is one of the ones that take the longest to level up because this is about repairing clothing. Again, just leveling this up makes it so that you're more likely to succeed in repairing something. And then you have the revolver, which is just the revolver, just shooting better, like more accuracy and more damage and stuff like that. And then gunsmithing is just how good your ammo is. This one does very little. It basically just makes better bullets. Here's some stuff that you can look at, like where things are in the world. For example, here on surveyed locations, I can select it and I can choose Mystery Lake, and it can tell me that I need to map, let's try Mystery, map these regions. These are missing for the Faithful Cartographer achievement, for example. And the rock caches, and has notes I can write, you know. And here's our statistics. So this will say anything about your run. Okay, then we have the inventory. And your inventory is divided into different segments. You have, this is just everything. Then you have, this is fire starting stuff. So here's accelerant, which this one makes the fire start faster and also more likely. This is our tinder to start fire, and our matches, which you spawn with on lower difficulties. Here's your medicine. We have antiseptic. So if you get a bite from a wolf or a bear, You need to use this to disinfect the wound. Bandages will stop bleeding and also fix sprains. Painkillers will take away pain, which you get from sprains and other things. Basically blurs your vision. Here's our clothing that I showed you before. Here's our food and drink, which we have none, so that's not good. Here's our weapons. We have a bedroll, well, not weapons, tools rather. We have a bedroll, which we can use to sleep anywhere in the world. We have a flare, which we can use to scare away wildlife or light up an area, or you can use to light the fire. We have a can, which you can use to make water or food. We have a sewing kit for repairs and crafting, and bandages in this one too. Okay, and what about the rest? So where are we? Well, we're in Trapper's cabin, and there's lots of stuff around here. So this is a base. Now on lower difficulties, it's perfectly fine that you create the base. So you can easily make this your base and just put loot here if you like, and just live around this area and slowly expand outwards and outwards into the world. On higher difficulties, you can't really do that. You need to start moving, but on lower difficulties, you can. But first things first, let's look what's around us. So first things, when we come in, you see there's a jerry can here. The jerry can has lots of oil in it. The oil is really used for two things. One is to start a fire, and the other one is to light a storm lantern so you can see in the dark. So we're going to take that. Basically, you're going to take everything that you find. This is revolver ammunition. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then you have a first aid kit. We're going to loot that. You just click to loot it. And we found this stim. The stims are extremely powerful, and if you find them, you should keep them for emergencies only. If you use a stim, what happens is that you will heal 15% of your health instantly, and you'll start sprinting for 1 minute non-stop, but it will drain all your fatigue. You'll also ignore injuries like sprains. So if you're in a bad situation, you're caught somewhere, you have low health, you're surrounded or injured, pop one of these and sprint to safety.
I'll take it.
Then we have bandage. And then let's look around some more. Here we have a locket. This one is locked, as you said, as you can see. And you need a pry bar to open it. So we need to find a pry bar to open this. And that means that maybe there's some good stuff in there, but it could be nothing also. Then we have some reclaimed wood, which is basically firewood. You can use of other things too, though. We found a rifle cartridge. Could be handy. Some more bandages and antibiotics and antiseptic. And then we have our backpack. Let's search that. So we found some dog food, some grape soda. Here's some more wood, firewood. And a note, this is just story stuff, you don't need to really read this, but you can if you want. And now you found some tea. This, if you make the tea, will make you heal more when you sleep. That's what this does. Then we have another can for cooking, and the pot. The pot is a bigger version of the can that you can use for cooking. It will cook more water or more food. So we're going to take that. There's another one here. And let's look around some more. Here's a knife. Oh, that's very good. So the knife is handy because it allows you to break down things. It allows you to defend yourself against wildlife, and allows you to craft things faster and also harvest carcasses. So once you find it, you should always have a knife on you and a hatchet. Those are the two things you should always carry on you. And your books, these don't do anything, but they are firewood, and it's easier to start a fire with a book than it's with pretty much anything else. So we're going to take that. Another rifle cartridge. And this is another thing about this game. They like to hide loot all over the place. So make sure you look everywhere. So for example, here there's two boxes. Make sure you look around the boxes too. Is something else around? Like for example here, look, there's a cartridge here. See, they've hidden things. Let's look at these two boxes. Nothing in that one. Here we have some more antiseptic. Some gloves. Oh, that's good. We need gloves because remember we have frostbite. So we can put these gloves on here. You just select them and click wear, or you can double click like this, and now we have gloves on, so we're not going to get frostbite on our hands. All right, then we have some cloth. This is used to pretty much just repair your clothing. A few other minor uses too. Firearm cleaning kit, so if we find a revolver or rifle, we can use this to clean it. Another sewing kit, and a plastic container. Let's see. And then we have a summit soda, another drink. This is a snare. This is used to capture rabbits. You don't really need these, but it can be handy. And then the drawer, let's have a look at the drawer, and then there's some more goodies around there. So first things first, we'll look at this. We have a rifle, a hunting rifle. This can be used for hunting any kind of animal at all. And we'll get to that. Found some granola bars, some food. Oh, wow. Found a flare for some lighting or scaring off wildlife, and then a mag lens as well. The magnifying lens is another way to start fires. You don't need to worry about this in the early game, but if you survive a very long time, you want to use these. You can start a fire with this if it's daylight, but only if it's daylight. There's a newsprint. We're going to take that because we can use start fire. Get to the safe later. Some sardines here, and then there's an MRE. The MRE, the military graded food, is basically the best food in the game on lower difficulty. As you can see, it has a lot of calories, almost 2,000 of it. So this one's good to have. And then we have these. These are books, teaching books. This is a cooking book. So these books, let me actually put it down so you can see the difference. See, this one is just called book, but this one has an actual title. If the book has a title, it means it's a book you can actually read, and reading it will grant you skills. In this case, it's a cooking book, and reading it will increase your skill. Let me just point out, though, it will only level your skill when you finish reading the book, not while reading it. Okay, is there anything else? Let's just have a look around, see if we missed anything. I don't think so. I think we got everything now. Yes. Okay. Then there's one more thing, which is this safe here. Now the safes are locked, but you can open them. The way to do it is to listen. You'll make a little tick noise when you get to that combination, and it will also give a symbol here on the tumblers. Now you can do this slowly like this. And just slowly do it until you see that it hits it like that. See, now it hit like that. And then you just continue doing that. However, what I often do is I do it faster. So I do like this, find the right number. Oh, you need to go back to 0 first to reset, like that. And then it was 9, and then I just span fast, and I try and look for the number. What number does it stop on? Okay, it didn't. Looks like 11. Let's do all the way around. So then let's do this again. Oh, I didn't go quite to 0. Let's go back. There we are, 9, and then I think it was 11 or something like that. And then I usually do the last number a bit slower. There we are. Strange numbers, 9, 11, and 16. And there you go, then you open it. And inside we have gunpowder. Could be handy. And all boots. And these are good boots. Insulated boots are very strong. And another emergency stim. How nice. So we got a lot of good stuff here. Let's see if these boots are better. So here now we have 2 boots. And these are the statistics down here. So what this means is, this symbol here means this is how much warmth it gives you. So this gives you 0.3 degrees of warmth. This is the wind resistance it gives you. So how much it reduces basically cold from wind chill. This is how resistant it is to water. So especially when it's snowing, it will get wet. And this is how well it protects you from animals. Actually, if you hover over it, yeah, we'll say. See. And this is sprint penalty. So when you sprint, if you click the shift button, you'll see you'll get this little symbol in the right corner, and that's how much you can sprint. If you hold that, you can sprint like this, so you run faster, see? And it goes down. If you put these on, you will lose 3% of total sprint. This is your condition. Once this goes below 50, it will be yellow. And once it goes to, I think it's 20, and it goes red. If it reaches 1%, it will break. And this is how much it weighs. Now let's compare these. As you can see, they will give you these handy indicators showing this is warmer. It's better protected against wind. It's better protected against water. It's not as protected against animals, and it has a larger sprint penalty. It's better condition and it weighs more. We're going to put those on. And actually what we can do is, we might want to repair this. So if you click actions, you see it says repair. We can make them better. But we need leather for that, and we don't have that. But what you can do is, we don't need these boots anymore. So what we can do, we can harvest these. We click action and go to harvest. It's going to take a long time, but we get cured leather. So we're going to try that. Break these down. Then the character will spend an hour and a half breaking this down. And there we go. And now what we can try and repair it, because we do have sewing kits. So we can try and repair it. Now, unfortunately, we're not guaranteed to succeed. So if I click Action and Repair, you see if I succeed, I repair 30%, and I have a 70% chance of succeeding. So it's possible that I'll try and fail. And if I fail, I will lose this material, which isn't great. But let's give it a try. There we go. And we managed. So you see now condition went up to 78%. And you'll notice that the numbers there have also gone up. So the higher condition your gear is in, the better bonuses they give you. So now you're warmer and more resistant to things. Now notice we are thirsty, so we should make some water, because I don't have any except for these drinks. So what we're going to do is going to start a fire. Now you just click on the stove, but actually I'm going to do it outside. And then here you can just click on the stove and then start the fire by doing this. We're going to do it outside if weather is okay. So let's go outside, just for illustration purposes. Okay, it's foggy. We're going to start a fire. So if you're on a PC, there's a shortcut which is the number 4, and it will create a fire. But you can also go on the radial menu. This radial menu is divided into light sources, food, weapons. This is decoys, which you shouldn't really worry about. Navigation, campcraft, first aid, and drink. We want to go on campcraft. And here you can see the different things we can do. We want to fire. We're going to start a fire. Click that. As you can see, we need tinder. We need matches. We can't use the maglans because it's not sunny. And we need books or something else like fur. And you'll see as I switch between the different firewoods, it will change the success rate of starting a fire. Book is the best. It gives 80%, fur only 45, reclaimed is 40. This book, which you don't want to burn, is 80 as well, and so on. We're going to do this one. And the thing is, though, you can do this like I'm doing it now, which is just use a match, but I'll show you a different method after. So let's just do this. Now I succeeded. Oh, yeah. And as you can see, it gives me +2 warmth. And if you play on Voyage or Pilgrim, you will always be warm if there's a fire, because it will heat up the atmosphere. If you play on Stalker or Interloper, though, that won't happen. As you can see, the duration's going down. So we need to put more firewood on there. So we're going to click on it and click on Add Fuel. And we'll add this fir firewood. As you can see, it now increased it to 1 hour and 40. We're going to cook some water. So you can actually just click on the fire if you like, and it will say here what to do. You can grab a torch if you like. And then you see you now have a torch in your hand. This becomes one of your, basically, your weapons, but also your light source. If I go on light source, you'll see it says torch. And actually a trick I'm going to show you is you can actually save matches by, instead of gambling that the campfire will be lit, you can instead light a torch with a match and then start a fire with the torch by selecting it here. So that's one way you can also do it. And if you use accelerant, you will increase the chance of it working. We're not going to do that right now, though. Just click to douse it. Now you can select the, if you go to Campcraft and select the cooking pot, you can place it. And then you can start using it by clicking on it. Or you can just click on the campfire itself. Click on water. Choose the pot. And then you select how much water you want to make. The more you make, the longer it takes. It says 1 hour. And we're going to just make, for the demonstration purpose, ½ liter. And then I will also make another ½ liter here. Actually, for purposes, we'll make 1 liter. Now, while this is cooking, you can forward time if you like by clicking on it. And you see it says pass time until ready. If you do that, you'll fast forward until it gets to the melting point. And you can do it again until it gets to boiling point, because right now it's unsafe to drink. If you drink this, you can get dysentery. You can pass it again, and now it's boiled. So you can have this water. It's safe to drink. It goes in your inventory. We can take this pot back, and we'll wait for that to fall. So we're a bit hungry, aren't we? And thirsty. So why don't we eat something? We can go in here in the inventory to do it, or we can select our food in the radial menu and just select something here. So let's eat the granola bar, for example, right? The character will eat that. And then we do the same with drink. Here's drink, and we got a few drinks. These will also help. We're going to drink the water. And now the character is no longer thirsty. We're not completely full here, but we're not thirsty. So now we're not going to take any damage. As you can see in the condition, I have lost a little bit of damage. I'm not 100%. That's because I was thirsty and I lost some health doing it. As long as one of these meters is in the red, that is to say completely empty, and you get a red symbol, like I had now a drink, you will lose damage. You will only start healing your health if these are all not empty. They don't have to be full, like warm, but they have to not be in the red. If they are, then you will lose health. Okay, this is getting well. While that is doing that, we can do something else. We can go to crafting here. We can select tinder, and here, remember we picked up a new sprint, so we can use that to craft more tinder, which we're going to do right now. And now I have more tinder plugs. 3 minutes until boiled, so we'll wait for that, and then I'll show you some harvesting. That's right as well. Let's take that, and we can take a torch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to this deer carcass that's over here. So there's no crows around at the moment, but usually when there's a carcass, you'll see crows flying around, which means that there's a carcass nearby. In this case, there's a deer that's inside this little barn, or whatever you want to call it. And we can cook this deer for food and for materials. Now there was a feather there that I picked up. Are there more feathers? Some wood here. I don't see any more feathers, that's a shame. Oh well. But what I just picked up was this feather here. If there's crows flying about, you can pick up these feathers. You can use them to make an arrow. What we're going to do now, we're going to warm this up, because you can see it says frozen. I can actually harvest it because I have a knife. We're going to make a little fire here, if I have the wood for it. I'm actually going to use the accelerant or lamp oil, because we have so much of it. So let's do that. That should make it much faster. There we go. I can get rid of this. And if you wait until this is 50%, you can actually harvest it by hand. But because we have the knife, we don't really need to do that. But since I'm going to spend some time harvesting this stuff, I'm going to put down some more water while I wait. Oh, the wind is picking up. So let's do that. Let's put some water down here. Let's make... Oh, the wind has changed. It seems to have blown out my fire. That's not nice. Well, we don't really need the fire, I suppose. We're quite protected here. So we're going to just harvest this. So I'm going to select this. And this is the meat, which you want for cooking. We're going to grab all of that with a knife and harvest it. See, it takes 35 minutes, so be prepared to take some draining of the meat as well you do it. There we are. I got that. Then we have the hide. This is used for crafting. You can use this to craft legs and boots with deer. So we're going to get that too. But be careful doing this, because this takes 30 minutes. But as you can see, I'm barely cold, so this is fine. But if I was colder, this would be very dangerous. And then finally we have the guts. The guts are used to craft things, including a bow, snares, fishing tackles, clothing. So you want those too. Now what we might want to do now is notice that at the top of my screen there are two lines. The top symbol there, that is kind of like a shield with like a monkey tail, that's wind protection. That means I'm protected from the wind. If I go outside here, you'll see it disappears. That's because now I'm open and I'm being hit by wind. Very light wind, but still. But if I'm sheltered from the wind, like this, then I am warmer. Oh, that's actually not sheltered. Let's see. Now I'm sheltered. That means I'm warmer, and also I can start a fire here. But the two lines underneath, the two little like fire looking lines, they're actually stink lines. They indicate how much I smell. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because wolves can smell you, and wolves will then start to track you and try and hunt you, and you don't want that. It's getting dark, and I would not go outside if it's dark if I were you. It's very dangerous. So we're going to go inside, and we're going to wait it out until the morning and then go back out. Before we do that, though, up here behind the trapper's cabin, you can see there's some rabbits. No, we're not going to use that just yet. And you can use the snare to catch them. This is a snare. Now, the snare doesn't work actively. For example, if I put this in front of the rabbit, like so, it's not actually going to capture it. He's just going to go straight through it, and it won't make any difference. See? It's more for later. It's more that if I go into the cabin and then come back out, it might trap a rabbit during the night. So let's see if there's some stones around, and I'll show you how that works, how you catch a rabbit. Yeah, some stones. Oh, here's crows back. See, here's the crows. So they indicate a carcass. So if you hear them like that, you know that there's a carcass nearby. Are there more stones? Just that one? Okay. Let's go head back there. Now see, now I'm getting a sprain risk. See, that's because, like I said earlier, now I'm getting quite drained. My character's getting tired. And the consequence of that is that I can't carry as much stuff. So now I'm getting heavy. Once you're heavy, once you have this little red symbol in the bottom of the screen, you can't run as fast, and you can't pick up, you can't climb ropes either. So let's try and hunt this bunny. The way this is done is by aiming and then throwing the rock. This will take a little bit of practice, so don't worry if you don't get this right in the first try. But you basically got to aim with your thumb. It's not going to hit exactly there, but a little bit to the left of it. So aim something like this, I guess. I hit the rabbit, and I run over, and then I grab him. And now you can choose to release him or kill him. And, you know, we need food, so sorry. Okay. And then we're going to, let's see, where is the stone? Oh, the stone. I'm going to leave the rabbit out. Oh, there's a backpack over here. We want to check out this backpack.
I'm going to need to rest soon.
Oh, we found some sardines in there. How nice. I'm going to go back inside and we'll leave this snare out for the other rabbits. We'll check it in the morning. So now that we're back inside, let me show a couple things. So first things first is that we now have a deer hide. We can use this for crafting. We need more than one though to actually do anything with it. But we need to cure it before we can actually use it. In order to do that, you need to actually drop it on the ground just by clicking drop like this. And now it'll be on the ground. And you see it says 1% cured. And you just need to wait until this is done. For deer hides, I think it's 5 days. Yeah. So we need to leave this here for 5 days. And when that's done, then you can use it for crafting. And this only works indoors, not outdoors. The same applies to these, the guts. You have to drop these on the ground and they will start curing too. And when they're cured, you can use them for crafting. And that goes for all animals. So we now have a bunny. We're going to use the bunny to do some harvesting. You can use the hands, but it takes much longer, so we're going to use the knife. I'm going to harvest all of this, the guts, the hide, and the meat. Let's do that. And then let's light a torch, just for you, so you can see. You don't need to do this, but just so you can see. And we'll drop the fresh rabbit pelt on the ground. And then we'll drop the gut here. So now we have all these things curing, and later we can use this for crafting, especially when we get more. And we have all this raw food on though that really smells, and we really should cook that, and sooner rather than later. We don't have that much wood though, we have a little bit. What we can do is we can break down these crates. Just click on them and it will break them down in 15 minutes, like this. The torch will burn out, but that's okay. And then we can make a fire at the stove. Select the torch, light the torch.
I'm starving.
And then we'll start the fire. We'll select the stick because that's quite good. And we'll, because we have so much of the oil, we'll use the oil again. We'll start the fire. We'll put on some wood. And then we'll select the food in the radial menu and we'll place this food on here to cook. Takes an hour. Takes 42 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to douse this torch, and I'm going to grab a new torch. As you can see now, we're getting very tired, we're also getting very hungry, so we just need to cook all this stuff so we are ready. Now while we do that, let me grab one of these, and then like that. So this is the rifle. We have 3 rounds for the rifle. We need to reload it first. The rifle is very strong and can instant kill any animal with 1 shot, but you need to hit it critically, like in the head. But even then it's not guaranteed, so there's only a chance that it actually kills it in 1 shot. And I'll show you how to do this before we end. So let's cook this. We're going to wait 30 minutes. I'm just going to pass time. So that's cooked. You have to pick it up before it gets burned.
I am too tired.
And as you can see, my cooking skill went up when I did that. Let's put this to cook too. And it's 11 minutes, so we'll wait that out, pick that up, and let's make some water while we wait. And that should be just not enough. We'll put the last wood on too. This torch is burned out, but what you can do is you can pick it up, and you can go here, and you can click harvest.
The guy who drank his own pee doesn't seem so crazy right now.
And you'll get a stick doing that. As you can see now, all my meters are starting to become red. Let's do this one too. There we are. Found this is doing. Let's wait this out. Grab that. And let's get the water. And then for lighting purposes, let's pick that up. Now we need to sleep. So now notice how I have 3 of these meters in the red, and that's not good. The warmth is the most important because if you lose a lot of health if you're cold, but if you're exhausted, dehydrated, or starving, you'll also lose a little bit of health every hour, and eventually you'll die. Now you can walk around the world during the day and be a little bit in the red. You won't heal anything, but that's okay. But this is very, very important. If you're going to sleep, because now we're exhausted, we need to sleep. You must never sleep if any of these are in the red, because if you do, you will take damage while you sleep. So you need to make sure that these are not in the red, except exhausted, which sleeping is for. So we're gonna get some food in us. We're gonna eat the meat that we cooked. I'm gonna eat these 2, and then I'm gonna do a full drink. And that should last us the night. So now if I click on the bed, you can see it tells me how many calories I burn by sleeping. And the longer you sleep, the more health you regenerate. The max you can sleep is 12 hours. We don't need that though, maybe 10 hours is enough. As you can see, this will cost me, as if you will, 675 calories, and I have 1,000, so that's fine. So then we can click sleep, and that should be fine. And we should wake up, and it should be dawn. Yeah, and we have survived now 1 day already, and we're pretty well rested as well. It's quite dark, so I might sleep 1 more hour. Now that we've woken up, you'll see that these things have been cured more, 13% and 13% and 19%. This one kills faster. And again, I don't have much food or water, but I can decide to eat that later before I sleep, but I could just eat now also. We have food, so let's eat this meat. And let's have some drinks. We're going to drink these. Because these are very low condition, there is a risk that we get food poisoning drinking these. Because if food is low condition, you can get food poisoning, which isn't great, but you can cure it. So we're going to give it a try. I did not get food poisoning, so let's have a drink. And then before we end it, we're going to go outside and check. And let's check our trap. And as you can see from the snare that I placed outside, we have found a rabbit. So I can just pick up this rabbit, it's already dead, and I can harvest this, just like I did the other one. For the snare you just pick it up, and then you can place it again, and come back later. And that's how that works. And then we can go inside. We can do it outside, of course, but inside is safer. And then we can do the same thing. We can just harvest this guy. Use the knife so it's faster. And then I can place the guts here. I can place this here. You know, slowly our stuff is building up, and as I get more of these, I can start building things like I can make the deerskin boots eventually, I can make the rabbit mittens, and all this will help me survive and stay warm. So that's basically what the game is about. You just hunt things, gather things, and you know, we already survived one day and we got quite a lot of stuff, and I've only really been in one location. I've only been in this little corner of the map, so but that's it. That's how you do it. You just eat and stay warm and sleep. Before we go though, let's do a hunting demonstration, because we have the rifle. No animals when you need them. No weird. None at all. Ah, there's the wolf. Okay, so we've encountered our wolf, our first random one. Now you could just shoot it, of course, but there's other ways to get rid of it. One way is to throw a stone at it, but if you do that and miss, it won't do anything. You have to actually hit them on the head. Like that. That can scare them off as well, but it's quite difficult to do. You only have a brief moment to run away. Another thing you can do is just to hold them at bay with a fire, like torches or flares. Let's use a flare. You light the flare, then you can keep him at bay, and you can throw it at the wolf to get rid of him, like so. So now he'll stop, and then you can throw it, and he'll run away. That's how you keep them at bay, and they won't attack you that way. You can also make the wolf afraid of you by threatening it with a weapon, like a stone or a gun. So for example like this, he comes towards you, and then I choose my weapon, and as long as there's a fire burning near me, I can do like this, and he will get afraid. And he'll run away. Well, just for the sake of it, let's warm up a little bit. Just making a fire just to warm up a little bit. Let's throw this away. Now, the wolf is howling. You can use that to detect other wolves. I didn't hear a response back, so I don't think there are any other wolves around. Now what we can do while we wait to actually kill this wolf, we're going to make a tea. I'm going to cook and choose tea. In 10 minutes that'll be ready. And if you drink a hot beverage like a tea or a coffee, you will gain warmth. And the reason you want warmth is because if you have a weapon and you aim down the sight, you see it sways a bit. But if you're cold, it starts swaying a lot like this. It's much harder to aim. You can also only aim down the sight a certain amount of time because your character is going to get tired. It's basically like sprinting. See? He's aiming down the sight and then he gets tired. And we're playing as Astrid. Okay, so our tea is ready. So if I now take this tea, it's a herbal tea though, which you really should save. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes now. Because the herbal tea will make you sleep better and you'll heal more. But for now we're going to ignore that. You can see that the calorie meter up there is in orange. That means that it's hot. You can also go to inventory and you can see here that it says hot. So that's how you know. And if I drink it now, you'll notice that the cold meter in the corner will go up. See? And I'm also getting an effect of warming up, which This won't make that much difference in lower difficulties, but it's a nice thing to know. And this is the improved rest. Now in terms of shooting the wolves, now let's say I want to actually hunt the wolf, either to harvest its hide, or maybe I want to just defend myself. The way the rifle works is that you aim in the middle of this little thing in front of the crosshair. And the way you got to do it is to shoot at him right in the middle like this. If you miss and shoot next to him, then if he hasn't spotted you, he'll actually get afraid and run away. Like this. See, he got afraid and he ran off. So it's possible to scare away the wolf. Oh, one more thing. When you shoot with the rifle, you'll eject a cartridge. This, a casing. You should pick that up.
This'll come in handy.
Because you can use it to craft more bullets. Let's find the wolf again. Now, if the wolf attacks you, which I think is what we should do now, you just have to aim right at him and he'll die if you hit him in the head. Now the thing is that once the wolf attacks you, if you start aiming at it, you'll trigger a charge. But then you have no choice. You have to kill it. It's him or you. And that's how you deal with wolves. If he didn't die from that, but he ran off, then you'd have to follow the trail to find the wolf. And now we can harvest him. You can get his meat, and you can safely eat it. But on high difficulties, you can't eat this, because it will give you parasites. But on low difficulties, you can eat this. You can get the wolf hide to make a wolf jacket, and the guts for the usual. So that's how that works. Now when hunting deer, it's a little bit different from the wolves. The deers are of course no threat to you. They do spook easily, so they could flee very quickly if they see you, but you can crouch, which makes it harder for them to detect you. So just get as close to them as you can and look for an opportunity, and then try to hit them in the head or in the neck, and they should go down with one shot. Keep in mind that if you're using the bow, you can't crouch with the bow, which makes it a little bit harder to hunt deer until you reach archery level 5 at least. But that's a story for another time. So yeah, that was the beginner tutorial for this game. I hope you like it. Hope you survive well. There's lots and lots of more things to learn, so this was just the absolute basics of this game and how to survive. We just explored a portion of the map. It's a huge, huge world. So have fun and don't be afraid to learn new things. There's lots of stuff to discover. So yeah, live well and see you next time, survivors.